So our next speaker is Professor Ashok Pandey. I know Ashok personally for 4 years now. Dr. Pandey is currently a distinguished scientist at the Center for Innovation and Translational Research, CSRI Indian Institute for Toxicology Research, Lucknow, India, and Executive Director, Honorary at the Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, India. He is an adjunct and visiting professor in universities in France, Brazil, Canada, China, Korea, South Africa, and Switzerland, and many other several universities in India. Professor Pandey's major research and technological development interests are industrial and environmental biotechnology and energy biosciences, focusing on biomass to biofuels and chemicals, waste to wealth and energy, industrial enzymes, etc. He has almost more than 1,400 publications. Can you believe it? Communication, which includes 16 patents, 94, 95 books, more than 700 papers and book chapters. He has transferred several technologies on industrial enzymes to industries and has done industrial consulting for about a dozen projects for Indian and international industries. So Dr. Pandey is a recipient of many national and international awards and honor. He is chief editor of many journals. Of one of them, I myself submit papers, Bioresource Technology, which is one of the best journals in environmental engineering field in around the world, actually, with high impact factor. So without due delay, I will transfer the platform to Dr. Pandey. Dr. Pandey, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your introduction. I'll share my screen and thereafter will go directly to my talk today. So, good morning to everyone, and thanks indeed for inviting me to participate in this very important event. In the beginning, I was not very clear that what is main theme and all that, although I had been discussing with Ramesh, and he explained me that he would like to have a platform providing spirituality and sustainability together for the benefit of mankind. So after looking at the program, in fact, I have modified the title of my presentation, and which is now spirituality versus vis-a-vis sustainability and solid waste management for environment and health protection. As you will run through my presentation, you would agree with me that spirituality and sustainability, they are part of a coin, one side and other side, and they are very heavily linked. And when you say sustainability, obviously my talk is focused on environment protection, health protection, and that is how you would want this world to sustain in a very spiritual manner. So my lecture will cover, I'll 1 or 2 minutes I'll spend about my institutes where I have been working since more than almost 4 decades. We'll give a very classical view on spirituality vis-a-vis sustainability, and then talk about my main scientific work, what I'll cover into this lecture, where waste to wealth is the theme. But I'll try to carry the message very clearly to every of us that sustainability is essential to be achieved for the very survival of human race on Earth planet. And this is where I'll talk about scientific work and also try to give you my perspective that why sustainability and spirituality, or spirituality and sustainability, are the two parts of a coin. So as just mentioned by Ramesh in his brief introduction. I work in the CSIR Institute. For 3 decades, I have been working in the National Institute for Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, shown in the right side bottom, and which is a laboratory on southwest coast of India in Kerala. A very beautiful place and very, active institute where I established many new activities, including the first center for biofuel, and put the pilot plant, the only pilot plant in India, is still under public sector. And this is where the main focus on bioenergy program in this country, giving the position papers, etc., for different government departments, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, partially, and of course for Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Way back in 2004 or so on, we started. So, and then since last 4 years, I am now in Lucknow, which is the capital city of Uttar Pradesh, the most populous state in India. And the institute is Indian Institute of Toxicology Research, where we have established a new center, Center for Innovation and Translational Research, which essentially works on the interface of bench research and pilot research for technological innovations. Uh, I'll take 1 minute out, Ramesh. Please bear with me. Can you see my video still?
Yes, we are able to see you.
Okay, sorry. There was some noise coming, so I just wanted to stop that screen. So now this is very classical view which you can find in that Rohana's book on spirituality, spiritual sustainability, etc., has been dealt in a lot. Spiritual sustainability is about cultivating a sustainable spirit, becoming more connected to yourself, to others, and to our beautiful planet. And this connection is within, and your intuition is your guide. So very, very, philosophical word in just one sentence put together. But if you look at this and try to make your own explanation in a very unbiased manner, it is very clear that spirituality is very clearly linked with a sustainable spirit. That means spirituality means to be human being, and to be human being, it is necessary that uh, we be as close as possible to nature. And when we say we be as possible as close to nature, it obviously goes directly to sustainability, because if you want to sustain the nature, it is necessary that we make very strong efforts and uh, you know connect between the protection, between the health and development. There has to be a kind of very balanced act to be done by everybody. It is not that it is the national governments who are responsible for such a thing. So so we understand, all of us very clearly understand that what is spirituality. And in fact, on day to day basis, everybody has his or her own uh, perception about spirituality, and the act or the task which we should inculcate in ourselves in order to be spiritual. But the bottom line remains that we have to be very close to nature, and this is where the sustainability has become the key word. When you talk of a science and technology forum anywhere in the world, and you look at an international scenario, practically every project, whether it is in any domain of science, physical sciences, chemical sciences, biological sciences, and so on, every year, everywhere you find that sustainability has become a very key word. In fact, a keyword-based analysis shows that sustainability is the most used word in all domains of science and technology, including humanity sciences, social sciences, and of course natural sciences and medical sciences. And this is where again the role and significance of 17 uh, sustainable developmental goals which has been put by uh, United Nations for different activities come into picture. So in a very classical way that as I mentioned that the science and technology domain have very focused activities, and this is where we have been working since last uh, at least 2 decades very strongly, that waste to wealth or resource recovery from what we define as a waste. And in fact, if you look at the classical definition of waste, it is very interesting. Uh, a product or a material which we do not know how to use, we simply say it is a waste. So a chair may be waste once it breaks. A table may be waste once it loses shine or once it breaks. The food is waste if it is left unused, or if you do not know it is excess, or if it is rotten, and so on. So that is how the waste has been there. And then now there is very concentrated effort globally that how to manage this waste, because waste management has become one of the biggest difficulty. And those of you who are from India understand it very well that municipal solid waste, for example, is a nuisance. When the winter comes, when the rabi crop is harvested, all over the country, in particular the northern and the south central part, the crop residues are burned. This is a problem. So there are environmental issues. There are which ultimately impact the health of human being. Industrial waste, which come from different industries, solid waste or liquid waste, they are also big issues, because if the liquid waste is not properly treated, uh, it also causes a problem. It goes to waterways, it impacts the aquatic life, it impacts the plant life, and then ultimately it impacts the human life. We know that a lot of vegetables, for example, are cultivated on the water which are rich in heavy metals, and then those heavy metals reach to human body. We never understand how mercury has accumulated in somebody's liver, but this is a simple thing, because we take either unpurified water which actually has a lot of metals accumulated from different metal discharging industries, or it has other pollutants which have not been treated properly, and then they go and impact the liver of mankind. So this is how the concept of resource recovery. Earlier we had basic principle of reduce, reuse, recycle. During the days of our grandfathers and grandmothers, we had seen that nothing was thrown out from the house. Everything, even a tin which was containing some material, after use of material, the tin box was not thrown out. It was reused, or ultimately it was recycled to what we call garbage bin kabadi, and so on. But so now, while 3R continue to keep their relevance, the fourth R we added being the recovery, and this has become very, very important from sustainability point of view. So when you talk of resource recovery, we have different kind of solid waste generated: municipal solid waste, industrial waste, sewage from the municipal corporations, and then of course one of the most important where we had put focus is the agri crop residues, from which a lot of things have been worked, that energy can be obtained, gaseous, liquid, chemicals, nutrients, fertilizers, nutrients. Say, for example, if you look at an example, I'll give you industrial effluent, which are rich in nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus. Uh, uh, Phosphorus recovery is one of the biggest issue, because all of you must be knowing that phosphorus is not cannot be regenerated. Its quantity is fixed in on this planet, and every day some quantity of phosphorus is being washed out into waterways, and ultimately from different waterways it ultimately goes and merges with sea. So phosphorus is an essential element for the life, any kind of life, whether it is a human life, whether it is animal life, plant life, aquatic life. So just imagine, there have been some estimates. Always there are people there are who work on such things, thing that about 200 years later, in the year 2300, there will be acute shortage of phosphorus, which may impact the the life on this planet. So these are not hypothetical things. So recoveries of such a nutrient, everything is very, very relevant and very important. But then the world order is very different. We all know that after the, global change in 1991, which has impacted the whole world, the whole world order has moved towards business. A process, a product has importance and relevance if it offers an opportunity for business. Now, this also is an important element for sustainability. When you say sustainability, it is just not environmental sustainability. It has impact on other facet of life, that is the social sustainability, whether it provides opportunities for new job, whether it opportunities for economic gain for other people, in particular the weaker part of the society, and then of course it has economic sustainability. For any process product to make business case, it must be tenable, it must be suitable for development of business. And this is a business does not mean in money in terms of profit every time. It has a lot of issues, and this is where sustainability comes into play a major role. I will explain this a bit more when we go to the later part of my talk. And from business point of view, again, while there has been always talk of a circular economy, that means we create one product, we sell it, and we just forget about the byproducts and waste generated from that. And but then we know that again, if we want to attain the sustainability from we need to have a closed loop circular economy, where every byproduct, every residue goes back to nature, should go back to nature, or it should have find some application. So if you do a keyword-based analysis for the development of mankind and business and sustainability together, this is a kind of matrix we find, where we have, as you can see, a huge importance is there on enabling technology and skills. But then regulatory changes, business model, value resource, resource security, policy integration, and so many things are there which we need to take into consideration. An important point is here that product producer behavior is linked together with parameters like holistic cost, infrastructure, commercialization, and so on. So in fact, this is a basic matrix, keyword-based matrix for bioeconomy development. But then if you link it with this sustainability matrix, if you link with spirituality, we end up in something like this kind of keyword, which is not that these are the only one: sustainability, economic development, global economic system, spirituality, self-centeredness, greed, poverty, inequality, happiness, selfless love, selfless service, developmental studies, economic growth, great relevance, poverty again, and spirituality, then sustainability and sustainable development. So all these are very closely linked together. So what I'm trying to tell, if you do an analysis of previous metric-based analysis, which is focused on sustainability, and if you do this metric-based analysis, which is based on primarily spirituality, you'll find that there are a lot of commonality. And this is where the science of sustainability and the science of spirituality match together. This is more, again, described more clearly about the sustainability. Yes, Ramesh?
Professor Goel, you are unmute. You have to unmute.
Yeah, I was saying you have 5 to 7 minutes, Ashok. Carry on.
Oh, I see. Okay. So I'll run through the slides. So this is the more clearly explained again here on resource recovery sustainability. I will not go into this one, but as you can see, that is what it shows, that in the nature we use it. There is some byproduct which is leakage. We dispose it. It is again Not everything is disposed, it has leakage. So we need to return, as you can see, in different process in this resource recovery process based on circular economy, we need to return to nature again in order to sustain for future. So I'll skip now this kind of slides. This gives the detail about what kind of solid waste are available and where the focus of the world is there on resource recovery and working on the principle of bioeconomy. So this is what we had done. This is called the most important document in India, which has a global reference, including International Energy Agency adopted it as a reference point for India country report. So we have been working again, as I mentioned to you, that is how it is shown here, that in a closed closed circle economy, we need to consider all the stakeholders where sustainable development, actionable development, and feasible development are the key, and which are well supported by the technical and scientific relevant, which is shown in the second circle. And then there are the government regulations, etc. So this is where again this comes into picture. Sustainable development, respecting the human beings and humanity. I'll accept these parts that these are the scientific part where we have shown. This is a pilot plant overview what we have shown. Again, another pilot plant for enzyme production, and then also as I said that nothing is waste. So the entire waste generated in different processing, it is utilized for different other application, algal cultivation, and then after recovering of fatty acids or protein of interest, whatever is left out algal biomass, that is converted to biochar, which again is utilized, it goes back to environment. So in order to summarize, I can say that agri-crop residues, etc., offer very potential, application, and use of such solid waste is of great relevance in order to attain not only economic feasibility but also for achieving the sustainability, and in order, and that how we can preserve the nature. So I'll conclude with the last slide that we know that spirituality is a human being, but sustainability is for human being survival. So if you want to human being, we need to adopt sustainability very clearly. And when it says sustainability, energy and environmental sustainability are the primary aspect for us to take care, because this is where the whole world starts and this is where the whole world ends. If we do not have proper environment, there will be no survival of any kind of life. So spirituality is directly linked to with sustainability, and both have several common features. I have shown you that if you look at that keyword-based matrix, you would very well agree with me that there are a lot of common features and they are quite well linked with each other. So there will be much happier world order if spirituality and sustainability are adopted together with equal relevance and value. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ashok. Wonderful presentation. I think we have some time for a few questions. Back team, please, we can take few questions for Dr. Pandey. Any questions from audience? Okay, so there is a question from Sandeep. How it can be applied to petrochemicals? That is the question, Ashok.
This is very important question you have asked. In fact, if you look at petrochemical industry, right from the beginning, petrochemical industry has been working on principle of circular economy. That is, no product when we get the crude, every component of crude is utilized completely. Not even a fraction is wasted. So the issue is that how do we go sustainable? Sustainable, if you look at the utilization, currently plastics, for example, whatever we have, they are derived from petro resources. But then we know that plastics derived from petro resources are not sustainable. So we need to develop resources from natural material which can be biodegraded. So there has to be a link between development, sustainability, and utilization. So petro industry would continue to be the major source of economy for large number of nations, and of course, value-added product production, including liquid fuel, gaseous fuel, and other products. But then we have to look at you know uh, avenues in order to develop products which are derived from petro resources to some other resources, so that they are not environmental unfriendly.
Professor Ashok, we have a very interesting question by Sanya Ansari. What can we do as an individual for sustainable development? Moreover, what should be our first step for the same?
That's very important. Very, very nice question and very relevant. And Sanya, if you could follow, if you could adopt at least for yourself, I'll give you a very crude and very, very simple example. We know that India is a country which is very heavily water stressed. In fact, in terms of water stress, India is ranked together with 17 countries, and alone India's water stress is higher than 13 countries put together. That means we are very, very water stressed country. And we all know, even in our national capital, during summer there is no water in half of the Delhi, and there is water for 1 hour. So this water is a big issue, and the way it is happening, that uncontrolled exploitation of water, for example, the feed states of India, that is Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh, uncontrolled exploitation of water. We know that by 2050, part of these states will be like desert. No water will be there. Water table, which was 30 years before 30 feet down, today it is some places 400 feet down. That means it is very, very unsustainable situation. So what you can do it, for example, a few things. Don't wash your car. We see still there is no water, but people wash their car with pipe water, running pipe water. We see people shaving, keeping the tap open. We see that we keep cutting trees and we keep uprooting the plants. So stop uprooting plants, stop cutting the trees, stop wasting water. So this is how an individual can contribute. And if you have land and you have opportunity, please plant one tree in 1 year. That will be great contribution if everybody does it. Control uses of water, individual uses of water, and plant one tree. That is how the whole country will change in 5 to 10 years time.
Thank you, Ashok. I think we can take one more question. Let me see. I think this looks interesting. How Indian government working on 4R, what steps are lacking? This is from Vikram Singh Tomar.
Yeah, very, very nice that, as I said, that is spirituality, we try to think of ourselves, but when it comes to sustainability, for sure, more than 99% people think it is a government's job. It is not government's job. So coming back to question, there are a lot of rules, lot of regulations put in place by the government, and their implementation is to be done by who? It is we who have to do it. There is very clear instruction: no polluted water should be put into any land or into waterways. But we all know that how this what you call State Pollution Control Board and Central Pollution Control Board works in our country. And for industry person, it is much easy to what they feel that it is much easier to give X amount of money to concerned official rather than putting even if it is less than X, if you took into longer perspective, that putting such a treatment system. So the system is not working. So primarily the system has to work. I'm sorry to make such a comment in public platform, but then every of us knows it very well. It is not that it is something hidden or something new information I am giving. So the rules are very clear, including there are very huge incentives for resource recovery. For example, if you put a agri waste based bioprocess, there are incentive on up to depends upon what is the size of industry you are putting. If it is in macro, if it is small, there are incentives on taxes. There are incentive of purchase of plants and machinery. There are incentives on other kinds of taxes, and of course water uses, etc., etc. Depends upon state to state, but practically every state offers huge promotional ways on resource recovery from any kind of waste, be it municipal solid waste, be it liquid waste, be it agro-industrial residues, and including the food waste.
Thank you so much, Ashok. Appreciate you coming up among your busy schedule. I hope you stay for some more sessions, and there are some wonderful sessions in the evening also. So thank you so much.